Live, yay! I'm here with my business partner and friend, Mark Deal, the guy who makes me do things that are good for me.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, Mark. Wait, I can never do that right.
You always get that wrong.
Oh my goodness. Hey, we're going to be bringing on, in just a couple minutes, we're going to bring on Deirdre from Capsho, which is one of my favorite things of 2022. If it was the Oprah Winfrey thing, it would be one of my favorite things. Mark is wearing his t-shirt. I've got mine in the wash because I wear it so much. I need to, get it washed.
Thank you. We appreciate you doing the laundry, Steve.
We're virtual, so it really doesn't bother anybody. But I do need to get a haircut soon. And anyway, so I appreciate everybody who's showing up now for this live stream about Capsho 2.0. We'll probably get a recap of everything they've done up until this point and what they're announcing that's coming up like right now. So Mark, thank you for joining me.
Certainly. And what I'm going to do, Steve, is I'm going to jump out backstage. I'm going to join everybody else in the comments over at Facebook and YouTube and help stir things up. So I know you've got a special guest. So I'm going to jump backstage and jump into Facebook and say hi to everybody.
Go say hi to Ashley. Ashley's here. She's live. All right. Welcome everybody to today's live stream from the Podcast Editor Academy. We're going out to YouTube. We're going on the Facebook groups. We've got our show notes Facebook group as well. And today we're going to be talking about Capsho. It's one of my favorite things that has come out, and they are so ahead of the game on this AI thing that I think you're going to agree. So before I get into it, I should probably just go ahead and bring in our guest. So I'm going to bring in Deirdre. Deirdre, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're always just a ray of sunshine. So this is going to be the party. In fact, hold on. We've got to do this right. This is going to be the party that we should have going on.
No way, yes.
Gotta, so whenever I talk, we're going
to wow.
That's right. So we'll have the party going on.
Exactly. When do I get the invite to come over, Steve? This is, we need a rave.
Okay. Well, I'll have to work on that. Let me talk to my wife about setting up the 18-course meal for you.
Yeah, I love it.
Like I said, she brings the party. We're already getting started. So Deirdre, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor to speak to you, Steve.
Yeah. Now I have to find out, because I've been reading your emails, which you send out a lot of emails, and a lot of the emails talk about how you spent so much time recently working on this new announcement of Capsho 2.0. Have you gotten enough sleep for today?
Oh my gosh, I'm not going to lie. Today was insane because all of yesterday, we're on the verge of giving our alpha testers access, of which, Steve, you're one of them. And I've been yesterday was like full on testing all the way into the night, reprioritizing, because, as usual with software, things don't go according to plan. And so we have to, trim it down. That this morning, usually I do a workout every morning. I'm like militant with it, right? Like I'm like, it is going to happen. I just could not get out of bed this morning. So that's the mood right now.
At least you didn't have a long drive to work, did you?
No. It's literally work is like rolling out of bed and
yeah. In the old days, I used to have that long day of work and then that commute home. It was no fun, but we get to do this because it's all virtual. We get to use things like AI tools to be able to do our things. If I didn't announce it earlier, Deirdre is the co-founder and CEO of Capsho. It's the world's first AI-powered podcast copywriter, which means it doesn't just do show notes. It does your titles. It can come up with your social media quotes. It can come up with your transcript. It can come up with all kinds of things, which she's going to show us more about now. How long has Capsho been in? I know you came up with the idea a couple of years ago, but how long has it been a reality? Actual
oh my God.
Name down.
Yeah, I know it seems like we had the idea a couple of years ago. We didn't. It was literally pretty much a year ago we came up with the idea. We went live with this. So we launched beta June 1st last year, and we went live July 15th. So it's been like 8-ish months?
No.
It's crazy. Right? It's crazy.
Because you met Mark Deal at, what was it, Podcast Movement? Or Podfest. It was Podfest in 2022, so it's been a year. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. That just shows how fast everything is changing. So how are you?
It's insane.
how are you staying ahead with all these AI things that are coming up?
It's tough. I'm not going to lie. And again, I write about this stuff in my emails. But it's like we talk about this all the time, but we were fortunate. It's a good and bad thing. So on the one hand, Capsho was the first in podcasting to do what it is that we do. And so we really got kind of used to being like the only player in the market. And now that there's just been this rise of AI, and not like direct competitors, but even indirect, like a ChatGPT, but also direct. There's a lot more of them coming out now. It's really, first it's that roller coaster. Right? First I'm like, oh gosh, like what does this mean? And like, what's going to happen? And I'm losing sleep over this stuff. But then, as Bonner always reminds me, she's my co-founder, it's like iron sharpens iron. So, we pick ourselves up from that and it's like, okay, well, we are committed to making the best product for the particular people that we are committed to serving. And so as long as we keep reminding ourselves of that, we're just going to keep doing that. And so that's what we get comfort from. And the more that we engage with our community and talk about what we're doing, and the more that they give us feedback and, cheer us on and all of that, just like you do, Steve, and you and Mark, you guys are amazing. Like the more that we get that back, the more that we're like, okay, we can do this. Like even with all of the competition and everything else coming up, like, it's a good thing in a way, because now we don't have to battle the, education part of it. Like, what is AI and what does that mean? Like, we don't have to do all of that anymore, because we were doing a lot of that last year. We don't have to do that anymore. It's just, let's get into why are we the best, or why are we the ones for you? So yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, this whole ChatGPT thing has just exploded in the past 3 months. I mean, you think about it, it was November, maybe it's from 4 months. Okay. But time has just sped up so fast. For you to keep ahead of it is great. And now I think there might be some competitors out there too, but honestly, the things that I see Capsho doing for podcasting is different than you can do with the ChatGPT, because you're pulling from the audio.
Yes.
You're giving people options on how the AI writes for you and presents for you. And it really does present to the person who's going to read it in a fashion that sounds like they're talking to a person who's listening to a podcast. I've seen that myself, because the way I use it right now is a little bit different than most, because I don't have a podcast, but I'll take these live streams, I'll throw it in Capsho, I'll get the chapter markers, I'll get, the little tweets and things like that. And it's talking to the listener of a podcast, not the viewer of a live stream.
Yes.
So this whole thing has been exploding, but you're staying in front of it. Now, Capsho, can you show us the backside of Capsho as it was? Or are you ready to jump into 2.0? Because I just want to show people what's available.
Yeah. Let me get into 1.0, because it will make a difference then when you see 2.0. Like just, this is, okay. So let me share my screen.
Yeah, because 1.0, you're going to see what features have been available for the past, well, not a year, I guess, but 8 months.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That'll give viewers who haven't seen Capsho in action before, the viewers will be able to see right here what actually does happen when whoops, excuse me. I don't know what happened here. Here we go. What Capsho it looks like when you jump into the interface.
Yes. Okay. So this is 1.0. So essentially, you upload an audio file, and oh no, I'm in the wrong. I think this is what happened before. I might be in the wrong account. Okay. Let me quickly. I'm going to be right back. Let me just quickly log into the right account.
You got it. Take your time.
And so and maybe while I'm talking about this, is it useful for me to talk about the philosophy, like why we kind of decided to make this shift? I'm sorry, I lost audio.
Oh, it's because I forgot to turn off the mute button.
Okay.
I turned on the mute button to mute myself. You said the shift. I wanted to see what you were talking about. The shift between 1.0 to 2.0, or a shift in?
Yeah, 1.0 to 2.0. Yeah. Okay. Would you like? Is it useful for me to talk about that?
If it's going to take you a while to log in. Otherwise, I just want to see it in action.
Okay.
I like to see things in action. That's how I like
it. All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Because we're
Okay,
definitely going to
can
talk
you
about
see?
humane capital later.
Yes. Okay, can you see that? So
Yes, we can.
this is 1.0, and essentially it's really simple. Upload an audio file, and basically these are the assets that it creates for you. So title, description, and we call this the podcast player description. The show notes, we call this a show notes, but it's a podcast for your podcast website content. So and I know the colors are a little bit weird right now, but that's all being fixed. You get a full transcript, which for some reason in this test account is not coming up, but you get your captions, so your social media captions, promotional, engagement, and education. I'm in the wrong account to be showing this. You get an email as well. You get a blog post. Yep, I'm in the wrong account. This is the non-pro account, but you get a blog post, you get a LinkedIn article, you get YouTube description, and you get quotes as well. So
And that's where the real magic is.
yes,
The
yes,
stuff you're not going to
100%.
get. Yeah.
Anywhere else. And even the way, like, I actually got someone emailed me this morning and she was like, I tested 3 different AI tools and yours is by far the best. And it's because first of all, there's a few things. We're marketers ourselves, so everything that we create is from that marketing perspective of how do we help promote a podcast, but also and we fundamentally we care. I think it's a very forgotten thing, right? Just just caring. So anyway, so this is 1.0. Have I shown everything, Steve, that you want to see in 1.0?
If anybody had seen us in the one we did back in, gosh, what was it, September? I don't remember. This has been enhanced. It's been improved upon. There have been more things added to it, especially like a couple different ways you can select what gets chosen as the content, not just everything you upload. But you've been working on it since then. So I think the big shift is going to be when you show us 2.0.
Yes, and I'm just reading. I'm reading Mark's comment, and I'm like, there are the dad jokes. The dad jokes are rolling in, which is awesome. And okay. So should I get into 2.0? Do you want me to show it?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of laughing at this last one because the way you capitalize some of the words, it makes sense. Cap and show and okay.
Yeah.
Funny. Yeah. So, because I want to talk. Yeah, go ahead. Show us 2.0 because that's really what we're here for. We know it can pull the audio, create transcripts, write titles, and you've enhanced it to do an even better job at it. Tell us all about it.
Yes. Okay. So, and this is where I will talk a little bit about the humane editor. Now, it looks better when it's written, but actually, I think I can show how it looks written. Let me. Yeah. All right. The humane editor. You guys, this is what it's all about. And the whole purpose behind this is, we had to really, with the rise of AI and everything happening, we had to really think about what was our role to play in this as an AI software company. And, I was asked this question a lot, which is how do we feel about it potentially replacing humans, or, how does this work with because fundamentally podcasters are creators. And so that got me really thinking about, what is our position on it? Like, what is our responsibility in this space? And so the more that I thought about it, the more that I was like, wow, we do have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to actually create something that puts the human at the very center, at the core of everything that they do, because they are the expert, they are the creator. And even with my dystopian view of AI, how can we almost like stave that off as much as possible and, really keep the human as, the core to everything. So that was my approach. And I was like, okay, I think we can actually shift Capsho to help with this. And that's the whole purpose behind 2.0. That's the whole purpose behind what we're calling the humane editor. So a few things that means, that kind of means, and I don't know, Steve, if you want to bring this up, but if we start from, so first of all, things that we haven't kind of oh, this is the wrong one because it doesn't have the Podcast Editor Academy. But you know what does? The live one. I'm gonna stop my screen and I'm going to present the live one because it's pretty dang cool. This is what we are currently testing. And as you can see, we have the Editor Academy in here as a template. Now, why this is important is because, okay, let me take a step back. I just got excited about wanting to show you Editor Academy. But you saw with 1.0 that when you upload an audio file, Capsho just automatically generates everything for you. It's according to our structure. It's according to, and very quickly you can see, you can tell, oh, these people use Capsho because it's the exact same structure and, format that I've seen all these other podcasters use. And that was really grating for me. And, when we go back to the whole, being, how do we keep the human at the center of everything? It just didn't vibe, right? It was just really misaligned. So I wanted to actually create flexibility from start to finish. So, everything from you as the human can choose what tone of voice the AI writes in, to this is how you want to structure specifically your description or your podcast website content or your blog post or your emails or your LinkedIn article, because everyone has a different structure with the way they like it. Some people like to start with a quote. Some people like to have a full blog post in their podcast website content. Some people like to have a really, really short description or a really long one. Like there's so many different ways that people actually create their assets. And so we wanted to give you the flexibility to do that. So we have an option where you can build from scratch. You can, build a template from scratch, or you can choose templates from an expert. And so this is kind of, and when you do choose a template from the expert, it does pre-populate. So let me show you what it actually looks like. It looks exactly like how, even in 1.0, you get the outputs. This is it. And the great thing is, though, with this editor now is you might start from a template. You might start from Steve and Mark's template. You might be like, you know what? I actually feel like it would be better if we started with the values instead. And then and you can actually move, like you can drag and drop these blocks around. And obviously you can edit the words and go in there and, do everything. The great thing is too, is that you can see, again, with 1.0, there was a refresh button, which was great because people could be like, oh, I don't really like what Capsho generated, so let me refresh it and see what the next option is. But the problem with that is that you very quickly forget. You're like, oh, what was generated two goes before? And, and it gets really overwhelming and really confusing really fast. Now, the great thing is that we will just show you. We'll give you the options. Hey, these are the options for the content honey trap, right? So if you don't like that, you can drag and drop another one in and just replace it and delete this, or you could have two if you wanted to, so this is the great, we're completely putting the control back into your hands, into the creator's hands, because you know your audience, you know your content, you are the best person to actually create all of this. So I'm really, really excited about that. I'm going to pause there, Steve. Do you have any comments, questions?
Sure. So you're saying that these templates will be available to anybody who's got a Capsho account, and then they can make their own from that. And
yes,
you can move
exactly.
things around, the whole paragraph or sections around, so it matches what you're looking for. Okay, I like that a lot.
Yes.
You mentioned, and I think we need to go into this, because I don't hear this in too many places, and the places that I heard what it was made sense, but what do you mean by a honey trap?
Oh, a content honey trap. So in short, I mean, that's kind of our lingo for creating curiosity. Like this is what you use to hook people in. Every piece of, because we're marketers, so every piece of content marketing needs to start with some kind of hook. When you think about, for example, even a podcast episode, your title is a hook. People are not going to, as they're scrolling, as we always do, they're not going to stop and even, if your title's not hooking them, if it's not relevant to them, if it's not creating curiosity, they're not going to stop. You want them to stop. And then when they stop, then you want them to read your description. And from that description, again, you need to have hooks, you need to create curiosity, you need to use your content honey traps so that it gets them to do the next thing, which is to press play. So that's how we think about every journey, every marketing journey that we're taking our audience through, like that, in terms of you need content honey traps pretty much everywhere. Like even in my podcast episodes, I will actually drop content honey traps to lead people to my website page so they can opt in, leave content honey traps there so they can opt in for my lead magnet or, the call to action that I want them to take. So I'm always thinking about that. So that's, in short, what a content honey trap is.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, what else are you putting into this new version of Capsho 2.0?
Yeah. So if I just, continue with, so there's the editor, and so you can customize it all and everything. And the great thing is that then you can save it. So if you've been like, I started from Steve's template, but I just wanted to make a few of these tweaks and changes, you can save that as your own template, and set that as the default. So you never have to, bother with it again. And when you save it as your own template, you can actually share it now. And this is a really cool thing, because now it, really elevates you. And so you can really come from a place of expertise, which is so cool, and so much fun. So that's what's, from an editor perspective. The other cool thing that we have is, I might just actually share an image of this so that I can show you what it looks like. But what we also have is this concept of parallel processing. So again, 1.0, it was very rudimentary. You would upload an episode and it would kind of take its time to process that one episode, and you couldn't do anything else. Don't close the browser, don't do anything, because it would have cut that processing short. Whereas now, what we do is you can upload multiple episodes at a time and have them process at the same time, which will save a bunch that you can batch your work now, which is amazing from a productivity perspective. So yes, we're really excited about parallel processing.
Yeah, for me, thinking about as somebody who does podcast post-production, if I'm doing show notes and I've got a launch for somebody, I'm not ready yet to create the show notes. I'm editing the audio. We're still figuring out, is this the right title? Is this the right artwork? Does this have the right, niche? So once I get we've got everything figured out and where we're going with it, now we can pull the transcripts. Now we can pull the quotes. We can pull all that stuff. Doing it all at once makes more sense to me, because as everybody knows, the editing is the longest piece of the post-production side. Show notes is a very, very close second if you're doing it from scratch. So Capsho is definitely saving us time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I love this. And the other thing too, one more thing that maybe I want to share. Mark, batch processing is great for editors. Yes, I know, isn't it? It's amazing. The other thing that I did want to quickly share is our blog posts. So right now, again, in 1.0, we have one style of blog post. Now, it is the most SEO ranked style of blog post. It's what we call the how-to. So essentially it's a blog post where you're teaching, how to do something, and it has steps to it. But we were getting a bit of feedback that, again, everyone's content is different. Everyone approaches it a little bit differently. And again, if we're like, yep, we want you to drive your content. We want you your audience. So, you're asking for different types of blog posts. So that is now what we are also providing. So we will have 3 different types of blog posts that you can choose from in 2.0. There's a how-to, but then there's also a listicle and a Q&A style. And these are the top 3 SEO ranked friendly types of blog posts.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes. They really are. If you follow this type of a template, you're going to get more engagement from people who are reading the content on your website. It's good for the description in the apps as well. But I mean, man, just a bullet list always works out better than long, drawn out paragraphs. Always. Yes.
Yeah. So those, I could go on forever about all of the things that we have coming. We have integrations coming, which is going to be really exciting. There's, with the tone of voice, it's, right now you choose from an 8 that we have, but, soon you can actually have Capsho work it out for you based on the episode. It's just so many things, so many cool things that we're tinkering with.
All right, Mark says those are the templates I have used manually. Nice update. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something else that now this is something that I think we need to highlight again, even though it is a 1.0 thing. And that was something that you didn't have when I think originally when we did the live stream back in whenever it was being able to create folders within Capsho for each show.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I mean, that was just so huge for me. So I could create a folder for this show and I could create a different folder for that. Just, it's an organizational thing for me. And I'll just go ahead and, well, I can't show my screen because I don't have that up right now, but that
with
was
the
really
folders?
neat. Yeah. Because then I could have these little silos of content and have a record of things that I've had in the past. I assume you're building into Capsho 2.0 a way for if I use one voice type thing for this or one template, it's kind of
everything. It is. It's 100% true. So I'm excited. I'm glad that you brought that up. But so for each show, you can choose a tone of voice, and they can be different across shows. And as well, you can also save default templates across your different shows. So you might have one show where you're like, oh, I want to start with a quote for the description. And then another show is like, actually, I don't want to put the quote lower down. I want to start with, I don't know, the guest bio instead. You can actually set that and say, so it's going to be super cool. So much customizability for you.
That I so much like that.
Yes.
I so much like that. Oh, I know you had some other hopes for other things that are coming in 2.0. Is there anything right around the corner that you're not ready to put out there, but you can go ahead and tell us about? Because last time we were talking about images and garbage like that.
Oh, yes. So we are going to be bringing in images. Oh man, I can't keep secrets. Yes. So we're going to be bringing in images in a few different ways. So one is actually going to be when you're creating your podcast website content, when you're creating your blog posts, you can actually put images in there because as we know, or hopefully some of us might know from a SEO perspective, that rich media being images, videos, pull out quotes, things like that, is so powerful to help you rank. So we're actually bringing an image functionality in so that you can kind of almost go, oh, okay, for my podcast website content, this is the types of images. We'll be connecting to a lot of stock image platforms, so you can automatically bring that in. You can upload your own images, so you can kind of see on a page what the website would look like. And then with some of these integrations that we have coming in, it can just all port over with a click of a button, which is really going to be so much fun. It's going to be super cool. So that's from a content perspective. And then we are currently working on a couple of things that are relatively imminent. And by imminent, I mean kind of Q2-ish, which is like literally around we're not yet in Q2. It's kind of coming. It's around the corner. Is that we have the ability. So two things. One is what we're calling Capsho Guest. So a host can actually create promotional assets. So we're talking promotional social media captions and emails to send to their guest. And then the guest on their end has the opportunity to create even more content from that podcast episode for themselves. So they can create even more engagement style, educational style, social media posts. They can create LinkedIn article. They can create their own quotes. Like we'll pull out quotes that are specific to them, to what they said from that episode. And the powerful thing about this that is so not really talked about, I guess, is that means that they're actually kind of in a way promoting your episode again and again and again, because they're going to credit you, right? They're going to credit your podcast. And so that's what we're really actually excited about that and opening that up. So that's going to be one of the next things that we do. And then Creative Studio is going to be coming, which is where we're going to pick key moments in the episode to clip and create really compelling videos out of. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
So this can be a video, but it's not actually, if it's a video, it could be still frame images, or what is that going to be?
Yeah, we're still figuring out the audio only component. Obviously video is a lot easier because there's actually a base video. And we're partnering with the Biz Bros actually to talk about things like video attention resets. How do we actually make even the short clip really compelling from a visual perspective to retain someone's attention. So that is really easy when it's just video. Now, when it's just audio, we do have to think about what does that base image / video look like, and how do we continue bringing in those attention resets? Because that's key. Again, like as I said, we're marketers, so we get really nerdy about like the things that actually make people want to read, watch, listen to your thing, because we're all about amplifying your voice. So so we're still figuring some of the things out, but we're being really intentional with what it is that we're figuring out.
Because you can't just have that still frame image of the podcast episode or a podcast show, actually, which is just a square in a horizontal or vertical or horizontal thing. And you want to have elements like flashy lights to keep their attention. With audiograms, we've got the waveforms, but I don't know how much that really works. It does make something more dynamic than a square image of the show.
Yes. Yeah. So we're figuring all that out, but that is going to be coming as well.
Honey trap. Anything that works for the honey trap, right?
Yes. That's what it's all about. Exactly. Yes. That's why that is so key. Yeah.
Yeah. And then going back to what you're starting to talk to at the beginning there was, when we're doing more than one show, and I'm talking to the people out there who are editing and doing show notes and managing, when you've got guest assets or you got things you can provide to the guests that'll help them promote your show, that could be a win. You're making it easier for them to share your show on social media, in their newsletters, wherever. And you want the guests to promote your stuff because really you're reaching out to a whole different bunch of people who may have never heard of you. They may not even listen to the episode that Joe Smith was a guest on, Deirdre's show. Well, maybe nobody's ever heard of Deirdre until now. And now that this thing can create those assets for you, you don't have to come up with them yourself. You don't have to search and seek and find them. That I can't wait for that. That's going to be interesting, especially for podcast managers.
Yes. It's going to be really cool. I think to your point, sometimes we're like, oh, why aren't our guests sharing or promoting our episode? And sometimes it's because there's a few reasons, there's a lot of reasons, but one of those is because of what we've provided our guests. A lot of us will provide an audiogram like you were mentioning or some kind of image, but we don't provide them with the copy that goes along with it. We're just like, here's an image, do what you, and that's hard. That's hard as a guest.
And a 200 character tweet, and that's all they get.
Yeah. And, it's hard to come up with something. So that's, where we want to be able to help that whole process end to end. So we're really excited about that.
And I know you said that it wasn't available yet, but I want to envision what it's going to look like when it's ready. So am I sending the stuff to somebody in an email? Are they going somewhere to get it themselves? Are they generating things, new stuff based on whatever I've got in my Capsho transcript and account?
Yeah. So basically, what will happen is that you, in your host dashboard, you will see a button that says create promotional guest assets. And so when you click on that button, it will actually start, it'll actually, okay. The button, okay. So I am in the wrong,
I can take this off the screen if it's not necessary.
Let's take it off for a minute. I'll talk you through the host side, and then I can show you the guest side. And so basically, you'll click that button. From a host perspective, you will be able to see the promotional social media captions and email. So you'll be able to edit all of that. And then you will send that to your guest. Now, what it means by sending is that Capsho will send it to them because we will then invite the guest to log into their own Capsho account. And the reason why we want to do that is because, and we can share the screen now, I think, Steve, if that's okay, is that this is then what they see. So they'll see their episode. they'll see what it is. This is obviously test stuff. They will see what you've created for them. So this is the promotional, social media captions, for example, across all of the different platforms. They'll see the promotional email that you've edited and you've kindly provided for them. And if that's all that they want to do, that's awesome. They can just download it and they can share it. This is free, by the way, because this bit's free. But if they want to create even more assets, and this is why they do need a Capsho account, because then it's like they can create engagement social media captions, and they can create educational social media captions, and they can get quotes pulled out from what it is that they said. And quotes, by the way, based on different styles. There's motivational style quotes, there's epiphany style quotes. Yeah, exactly. There's like topic style quotes. And then they can also generate their own LinkedIn article. So that's why I know that it's not, sometimes some hosts are really protective of, they're wanting to share that they use Capsho, which we get, but they are missing on, I think, a really good opportunity for the guest to further talk about them in a really authentic way. That's not just about, hey, go listen to my podcast, but hey, here's actually what I taught on this podcast episode. Here's the topic that we spoke about, really engaging and educating their own audience, which is based on something that you were able to help them with because it was your stage, it was your podcast. And so, yeah, it's a really important nuance. And I think there's a little bit that we have to do to kind of, get people up the curve on why this is actually important to share. But that's our ethos behind it.
Yeah, if we can get them just to create the account to get in there and get the stuff, I think after that they'll be like a little wowed. About what they can, but they've got to want to get in there. So we've got to, as managers, as the show hosts, if you're working with your client, get them to get their guests excited about getting in there and getting stuff that they can share out. It makes it easy for them to create content that goes on their socials, fills up their calendar, as far as what they post. Because I know we're supposed to post twice a day on Instagram and once on LinkedIn. And what are the rules? I don't even know what the rules are anymore. They keep changing.
Yeah. There was one time that it was like on Instagram, you want to do like 8 stories a day and you want to do a reel a day. And it was insane. I don't so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take a rest from that platform for a bit because
I'm working on
crazy.
One a year.
Yeah.
Instagram, I don't know why. Instagram's the bomb and I can't get on there. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel
man.
yeah.
Well, this has been great. Have we missed anything that you're ready to share with us or announce?
No, I think we've covered the main things. I mean, again, 2.0 is all about putting the control back into your hands. That's really the long and short of it. But we just have so many even more exciting things coming. So yeah.
Yeah. That was why I was a little worried about setting the date, because every couple weeks there's something new that enhances this thing, and I'm like, oh, I gotta tell everybody, oh, this is great. I just want to do one big live stream to show everybody the new stuff, and you're gonna have more stuff in a couple weeks. So we'll just have to make this a regular. Well, here's the thing: if people join the, is it still called the Capsho Collective?
Yes.
Or
it is.
have you got okay? So the Capsho Collective, you
Yes.
join. It's like you get invited to the office hours. Yes?
Yeah. It's a mini community within our bigger community, I guess you would say. We're obviously invested in having all of our clients on Capsho succeed. But Capsho Collective is really the serious ones. Like they're the ones who, and they get access to our training. So we call it our content dripping training. So what are the platforms that you should be focusing on, or you need to be focusing on as a high income podcaster that's based on data, and we actually walk you through how to get set up on those platforms and how to optimize the assets you get out of Capsho for those platforms. And we do like twice a month. We used to be once a month, but now we do twice a month masterminds, guest expert masterminds. So we've spoken about everything from like how to do PR for your podcast to how to create blogs, compelling blogs from your podcast content, and we've got a few coming up around things like how to, why like how to compel your guests to promote your podcast episode. Like we do twice a month, we do these guest expert masterminds, and you get the office hours as Steve. There's so many perks, but the most important one, and I always leave this one to the last, is that you get a Capsho t-shirt. That's the only way that you can get a Capsho t-shirt is by joining Capsho Collective. So yeah, it's you're special when you do.
You know what? The t-shirt really is comfortable. For me, I get a lot of t-shirts and it really is comfortable. I like wearing my Capsho t-shirt. I really do. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I was going to say something else and I got distracted by the t-shirt comment. Excuse me for a moment. But I know that we've got something coming up in the near future that Deirdre and the Capsho team are involved in. Can I announce it now?
Yes.
Mark, can I announce it now? Mark, do you want to come in and help me? I'm bringing him in anyway.
Oh, gosh. Here I am.
Wrong microphone, but that's my fault. I jumped into. All right. In a couple of months, we are going to be doing a Show Notes Summit 2.0. Let's play on the 2.0 here. Show Notes Summit 2.0. We're going to be talking more about how to write show notes. And one of the sessions will be featuring Capsho stuff. Yay. So, Mark, you want to hop in here and tell a little more?
Sure. As you can see, I was stirring the pot in one of our Facebook groups, the
honey
Podcast
pot
Show Notes Club, the honey pot. Although it's a good honey pot because you're not just coming in there for a trap. There's lots of good stuff. So yes, Steve Stewart about 2 years ago came up with the idea. Hey, let's do a summit, a virtual conference solely about show notes. And this was before Capsho, and this was back. I was like, well, gosh, Steve, that is a horrible idea. It turns out that was one of our most well-attended summits. Very well received and picked up by a lot of the industry news feeds, and everyone was very excited about it. And we got great engagement. Like over 90% of those that picked up a live ticket actually watched us live and do it. And now here we are, almost 20 months later, we're going to do it again. And it turns out things have changed a lot in the last couple of years, as Deirdre is pointing out. I remember we had one topic around AI back in 2021. We were trendsetters with the Jasper thing. And now with tools like Capsho, you can just give it raw audio. It will transcribe it, do all of its bot things, and say, hey, you probably want a show note summary, some titles, some LinkedIn articles, some social sharing. What kind of tone do you want me to take? It's great. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. So we're doing this again, the Show Notes Summit, this time May 6th for 4 hours. We've hand-selected 6 speakers to come and give, 6 sessions, I think 7 speakers. We've got a couple people teaming up on one of the sessions about accessibility, and it's going to just be a great time. So we are announcing it now for the first time on March 2nd, a couple months ahead of time. And this is going to be fantastic. There you see our speakers. Thank you, Steve, for some of the speakers that we handpicked. We reached out to each one of these individually. We didn't say, hey, open session, open call for speakers, submit a talk. No, Steve and I had very specific ideas on what we wanted to cover. And these are the people that we reached out to. And luckily, most of them said yes. Okay, they all said yes, but we treat our speakers well. So yes, head on over to shownotessummit.com to check it out. There is both a live ticket as well as an all access pass, which gives you the ability to watch live and to ask the live Q&A, just like the live ticket, but also you get the replays. You also get the replays from the Show Notes Summit in 2021 and all the things that Steve and I have done between 2021 and now that relate to show notes, such as social sharing images and some of the other writing concepts. There's, I think, a few different experts that came on to talk about SEO. These are like bloggers and WordPress developers that really know SEO. Well, we've got their sessions and you can have them too. And Steve's on mute. And we're going to have a contest during the Show Notes Summit. How many times will Steve talk while he's muted? And the winner will get something, I'm sure.
A Capsho t-shirt.
Maybe a keyboard in keeping with a Capsho t-shirt. Although those are coveted. I'm not giving mine up. Don't make them on. Maybe a keyboard or something. But I'm keeping my Capsho t-shirt. This is coveted. I'm an OG.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank Deirdre and Capsho for helping to sponsor the Show Notes Summit coming up on May 6th. And of course, Podcast Center Academy members, you've already got access. So do not buy a ticket if you're an Academy member. If you're not an Academy member and you want to get a ticket to Show Notes Summit and everything we've got in the Academy, go to podcastcenteracademy.com and join us. Whew. All right. This has been fun. The party lights are still showing. They're on. Yay. Wow. Okay. So capsho.com is where everything is if you want to learn about Capsho. And we're looking forward to seeing you again in a couple of months. Thank you, Deirdre.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. I put Deirdre in the back room. I just want to thank everybody for
You
showing
need to
up.
end broadcast, Steve.
I know. I'm talking to everybody.